Welcome to the Leadership Table, where we have meaningful conversations with leaders who are creating real impact. I'm your host, Dr. Kevin Hairston, and today we are joined by a man whose name and mission are one and the same, Christopher Hope, the founder of the Hope Foundation in Memphis, Tennessee. Christopher Hope is a community builder, advocate, and founder of the Hope Foundation, a nonprofit organization that supports undeserved families and youth in Memphis and through mentorship, education, and empowerment programs. Mr. Hope, thank you for being here on the Leadership Table. Let me begin by asking you to share maybe perhaps your story or something for those who may not be familiar with you, just how you got to this place in your life.
Well, Kevin, I tell you, man, it's a unique story because usually the people who are in these roles, they have a plan for it. This is something that they want to do. This is something that they want to conquer. So they already kind of got an idea of how they want to do it, when they want to do it, and who they want involved. In my case, I mean, I already had a career as a UPS driver, so I've been doing that since 1987. But all of a sudden, I was given this assignment. I always tell people, it was his assignment to me to run a nonprofit. If I had people like you or other friends who had things going on and they needed help, I would always be willing to help somebody. But to be able to lead a nonprofit that I had zero knowledge about, that was not part of my plan. So I always tell people that this organization is God led and it's His calling on me to be able to provide a service what started out just here in Memphis, Tennessee, that has now expanded to 16 hospitals across the country. So literally learning on the fly on what it takes to run a nonprofit, how to be able to connect to businesses, get sponsorship, donors, volunteers, the whole works. And that don't even include the documentation that it takes to become an official 501c3. So it's been quite the journey. And right now we're celebrating 10 years. This is our 10th year. It's said that most nonprofits don't last no more than 2 to 3 to 4 years. So considering that I do have a full-time job and running an organization, I think that's pretty good for our organization.
But you know what, Chris, you said some things, man, that I so admire, and I wanna definitely touch on as we continue this conversation, because you talked about faith, you talked about work and life and family balance in the terms of everything that you're
Right.
doing. But as long as we've known each other, I mean, we our families have known each other for 30 plus, and I've watched your organization grow. I watched you grow, but I'm probably like a lot of people out there. What inspired you to get into this lane? I mean, what was it where you just
Mhm.
heard that little flicker to go, this is the lane that I'm about to jump into?
Well, hearing the stories firsthand about the families who needed help. Um, I used to be a part of a run group called Black Men Run, and we used to run different 5Ks around the town. Then we start stepping up our game, doing half marathons. So when St. Jude would have their marathon races, we would sign up. And me personally, I was like, you know what? I need some inspiration. And so I connected with a nurse who introduced me to a family there. And of course, we always know about the families that the kids that's going through the treatments, the radiation and all the different things about a cancer. But we never knew about how the families struggle because they're here for months, sometimes years, while their child's getting treatment. And everybody don't have big money like you, where they can just walk away from their job. Where they can just walk
He's
away from their
like
job,
like me.
like you.
Listen, I want to meet that person.
Yeah, and I want to meet that person named We too. I hear a lot about We, and I never get to meet We.
Right.
But anyway, so I would hear. I met some families at St. Jude, and we hear their stories, hear their struggles, and realize that there was a need, and it was at a point where we helped our first family. Well, I helped my first family because we were not Chris Hope Foundation at that point. And when we helped this family save their home, um, at that point it was like, okay, so what can we do next? And that's kind of like where it took off from there. Not knowing that so many families lose their homes, their cars,
Mm.
their lives. Sometimes, they lose all of those things, and then on top of that, lose their child. So it's a tough thing for them to deal with. And I saw that there was a need there. Um, After helping their first family save their home, and just continue to learn to see all the different ways that we could assist families anywhere from gas cards to mortgage to repos, all the different needs that are out there. So we just stepped up, and Lord knows since then we've done a whole lot more, which we can get into that later on.
But I think some of the things that you just described. I mean, really, really inspiring. I mean, to the degree where you said, "Hey, I'm running this, 5K with some other guys, and
Hmm.
we're trying to give back to the hospital." But you said inside of your words, you said, "I wanted to find something that was just a little bit more inspiring, a little bit more
Right,
give back." And
right.
what I find inspiring about that is that a lot of people talk great game, like we ought to be doing this, we ought to be doing that.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean,
Yes, sir.
Chris, you said, "Hey, hospital, introduce me to how I can give back." At the
Right.
same time, I still have responsibility of my family, my job, those things
Hmm.
that are my side of my personal life. But
Right.
you found it within yourself to say, "I want to give back." Here's the question I have, because I would love to have been a fly on the wall when you're talking to the hospital staff and you go, "Hey, I got this idea about giving back." How were they? Well, I mean, did they welcome you with wonderful arms and open up the doors, or were they kind of a little skeptical, like, "Who is this guy?"
Little bit of both. A little bit of both. Of course, initially I was involved with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and they are very protective of their brand. So one of the things they talk to me about is, make sure that whatever we do for them, it's just for them and not necessarily us. In other words, they didn't want us using their name
Mhm.
to benefit us. But I was like, hey, I gotta go follow it. I don't need your name. Hey, this is the Chris Hope Foundation. We could, marshal our own drum. And so um, it was between them and Labana Children's Hospital, which is another children's hospital we have here, where, like you said, I introduced myself and said, hey, this is what I want to do. What is it that you need? How can I help? And that's when we got into the need of arts and craft supplies. Every children's hospital needs coloring books, crayons, Play-Doh, Uno cards, Legos, all of these different things. And so that was the first thing that we did at Le Bonheur. And it was like, this is easy. This is literally easy, something easy to do. So one of the things we do there, we support the hospital as a whole. At Le Bonheur, at St. Jude, we help the families with their financial assistance. So we kind of got a couple of different things going on. So Labana was very happy to hear that somebody wanted to, well, first of all, somebody was called to them, asked them, can I give you something? What can I do for you? They actually thought I was a scam. They
Wow.
thought there was a setup call because it was like, okay, so what is it going to cost us? I was like, don't cost you anything. Just tell me what you need, and we'll bring it to you. And that's exactly what we did. We brought a truckload of toys, arts and craft supplies, and the relationship has just grown since then. And now we are one of the main volunteer teams who help them with their annual events. They have this thing going on called Halfway to Christmas, and that's tomorrow, which is June 25th, where they pretty much bring the holiday season in, because there are some kids who may not make it there, who may not be there for Christmas, whether it be due to death or discharge. And so we're going to be there tomorrow and be Santa and pass out a whole bunch of toys. Toys. In fact, when I get through with you, I'm going to Walmart to buy more toys. So it's hospitals like them and other hospitals across the country where we reach out to them and say, hey, what is it this we're the Chris Hope Foundation, and we want to supply you with things that you need to make your job better and easier. And they are blown away. So one of the things I always say, our organization not only make the kids smile, but we also make grown people smile as well.
That's awesome. And
Oh yeah.
we were just joking just a moment ago about, being able to be in that financial position, but I think it's
Mhm.
incredible that you say, I still maintain my job. I mean, I have
Yep.
volunteers that are assisting. But at the
Yep.
same, so it's not as though you came with this well-known last name and
Right. Right.
this
Right.
Fortune 500 company and you sitting
Right.
on tons of money. You're going, this is
Right.
straight from the heart. This is about
Dude.
us being able to give back because we're
Yeah.
passionate about being able to transform people's lives. Let me ask you
Right.
this question, because you dabbled just a little bit at the very beginning. How did faith play a role in just the evolving of this nonprofit and even inside of your passion?
Like I said, this was not part of my plan. I had no thought of running a nonprofit organization. I mean, of course, I got a heart to give back. I got a heart to help others. Whether it be something that they may have going on, but literally, um, I knew it was something that he put on me to do because, like you said, I'm not Shay Alexander or Michael Jordan. I don't have the big bucks to go with my big name. So literally, we started with nothing. I mean, not a dime. As a matter of fact, I was funding the organization out of my own pocket. Of course, I'm not a millionaire. I was a hundredaire. Uh, I was a hundredaire, so I was funding out of my own pocket to the point that I realized that now I need to have a fundraiser for myself because now I'm running short on funds. So literally, he brought people to me to guide me. It took other people to say, "Look, you've been doing this on your own. Now it's time to do it right." The documentation for the 501(c)(3, someone just came and just did that for me. Someone asked me, why haven't we gotten started? It was like, well, it costs like $1,500 just to do your documents. And they said, I got it. You need to go ahead and do it. I'll fund it. So it was just like he was putting all of these things in place for me to the point where it's like, I ain't got no choice but to put in the work now. So, and it's been such a wonderful thing. Now, it is tiring. It's a lot of work. I mean, your brain goes 24/7 when it comes to running a nonprofit. Because once you're in it and you're passionate about it, and you got everybody looking at you. I mean, they might not say anything to you, but everybody is looking at you. And you know that you're out here doing your thing, being watched, being recognized, and it's all on him. I would do something and I'll be driving down the road and I say, okay, Lord, I don't know what I need to do next. You got to tell me what to do next. And I keep driving down the road and all of a sudden this idea pops in my head. It's like, you know what? We're going to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he just told me what I need to do next. So yeah, so I'm very very happy that like I was saying what they said about what LeBron says being the chosen one to be able to lead the people and be an example and motivation for others and being assistance to others as well.
One of the things that when we talk about the issue of leadership and we talk about the idea of balance, work
Uh-huh.
life balance, and
Hard,
and
hard.
you're balancing running a nonprofit, you're balancing working, you're balancing family, and you're balancing
Yep.
every other aspect of your life. Is
Right.
there has there ever been a moment where you felt like I'm juggling all of these things and something I dropped the ball on and how did you deal with it when you felt that way?
You're gonna feel like that all the time. Yeah, I mean, balancing it's real hard because you got your full time job that takes up 9 to 10 hours a day. In my case, 10 to 11 hours a day. You got your nonprofit. You're tired. You're super tired, and you got your family, and you need your time. And literally, I run out for 2 to 3 hours of sleep a day. Don't fuss at me. I hear it all the time. Chris, you need to get your sleep. But it's extremely challenging to be able to balance all of the different things that goes on. But yet you keep going. But one thing for sure, your body will let you know when you need to get somewhere and sit down. So you got a choice. You can do it on your own, or it's going to make you do it. And most cases, it makes me do it because I'm going to continue. I'm going to always push. I just got that motor. I always got to go. If I sit still, I'm wondering, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm chilling, but what is Kevin doing over there? Kevin might be getting one of my sponsors. Kevin might be taking one of the ideas I had and and figuring it out, making it happen while I'm sitting here, chilling on the couch watching basketball, eating chicken wings or something like that. So yeah, it's a continuous thing. There are no breaks. I mean, if you want to succeed, especially an organization on our level, there are no breaks. You're going to continue to go mentally. I mean, you're going to eat, drink, sleep if you're serious about what your mission is and not making it about yourself.
Do you feel as though your passion and your drive, because you mentioned early on, you said, hey, we're not just in the one hospital that we began with, we're now in
Mhm.
16 hospitals. Do you feel like your drive and your passion has dominoed into some of the volunteers that you have where they go, you know what? I see a leader who, if he can get out there and keep going through and doing what he's doing, let me push out there. Has it inspired people around you?
Yeah, but then they realize this is a lot of work. They go, then it goes, Chris, just holler at me when you need me. But yeah, I mean, they see the work that's put into it, and I do get a lot of people that reach out to me and say, "Hey, Chris, if you need anything, just get at me." And a lot of them do. I mean, they have my back. But for some of them to just want to just step in on their own to be able to do their own thing, or say, I'm surprised, Chris, and I'm going to go to Walmart and buy so and so. So, nah, they're not too quick to do that. But if I say, hey, here's a company credit card, I need you to go shopping, that card get yanked out of my hand and they gone. But yeah, we have inspired a lot of people, and like I said, we helped them recognize the need beyond cancer, to realize that yeah, the kids struggle, they deal with the treatments, but the families struggle as well, and include myself. I mean, didn't know that even existed. So now the word is out there.
Well, I think again, I think it's very inspirational in what you're talking about, and I think there is a domino effect. And the reason why I asked about the idea is if does it trigger into other people around you? Because your inspiration and your passion, it becomes contagious.
Right.
Somebody picks up on it and says, "Hey, you know what? Maybe I can do something to help." And going back to what we were talking about just a minute ago, when we talk about the idea of self care.
Right.
My question would be, and I'm sure you get that asked all the time, especially if you're going at the hours that you're going and the number of hours you're sleeping. Somebody's gonna ask $1 million question and go, "How does Chris Hope take care of himself?" How would you answer that?
I must admit, I have done a better job this year, because I'm 56 years old, and of course, as you automatically get old, the body aches. But I've realized that I got to eat better, and I've been doing that. I've got into chiropractic care. I get massages. I do take time out for myself on weekends, where Sunday is just a do not disturb sign goes up. You know that is just my day to just chill and recharge. Because otherwise, I would be out doing whatever. But yeah, it's important. Like I said, because if you don't, your body's going to break down on you. Mentally, you're going to stress yourself crazy, and you do have to take time for yourself. I mean, sometimes more than others, because week to week, different things are going on. But yeah, I have this year have made a point to be able to take better care of myself, whether it be drinking more water, something like that. It's extremely important. Still can't drink enough of it, but drink enough water and be more choicey on the stuff that I intake food wise.
Let me ask you this. Here's a lightning round of questions I want to be able to ask you just real quick,
Okay.
and you answer them whether or not with one word or you answer them with several words. But what word would describe your leadership style?
Contagious.
Contagious. Why contagious? Why contagious?
because because of the feedback that I get from the people that are around me. You know, a lot of people reach out and say, you know, I see what you're doing, and it's so inspiring. It does make you want to be able to give more, whether it be their time or their money. So um, that's probably why the growth has been so great over the past 10 years, because people are noticing it. And it's like, okay, if Chris can give 10, 12 hours a day at work and give 4, 5, 6 hours a day doing this nonprofit, and I see that he never sleeps because he's constantly going. Um, it inspires and wants people to be able to step up their game.
All right. One leader, let me ask you this question. One leader, past or present, who inspires you?
Ooh, that would be our great President Obama.
Why
That guy.
why Obama?
I mean, it's not a lot of people who I would say I would want to be like. Uh, I love this guy. Is super smart, and he's like the cool uncle. You know, it's not a ton of people that I would love to be able to meet. But that's one guy I would love to be able to meet, and I feel as though he can walk in here, man, and join our conversation and fit right on in.
Right.
There's nothing stuffy about him. He is real, and I love it. There's no other leader that I have ever seen from a distance that's like him.
Let me give you this question. What's next for the Chris Hope Foundation?
Oh boy. Well, right now we are on a quest to supply supplies and partner with 50 children's hospital in all 50 states. That is our goal right now, because we see the great need of arts and craft supplies, technical support. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 hospitals that we've supplied iPads to help kids with their rehab. That's something else that's a big need out there. So right now we are setting a goal to put our logo on our map, saying that we've assisted all 50 states in the United States. And of course, we still plan to continue to grow our mission, because since we're a small organization, there are only so many families and hospitals that we can help. So we get requests all the time. I have a family that needs this, needs that. And sometimes it's like, okay, this is your request for this amount, but we can only do this much. I want to be able to fulfill requests to the fullest. In most cases, we do, but to the fullest, and not have to say, okay, y'all, we can only do 3 or 4 families this month. I want to get to a point, if they come to us, just be able to bring it, and continue to do more. And I would love to be able to do that.
Well, Mr. Chris Hope, man, I appreciate you taking the time in the day in the midst of all your busyness. The hardest working man in the business.
You see, I got my sweat on.
I see you though. For a moment, I thought you was coaching somebody's game, man.
Hey, you know what I said? Kevin's probably gonna look at me and like, boy, he looked like a preacher.
See, no. I said he's about to preach a sermon, or he's gonna coach somebody's game, man. Because he's
all of that.
Well, if it, and I know it's hot there, man, where you are in Tennessee, man. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, man, in Ohio, man, it's burning up. But I want to tell you personally, man, thank you, man, for joining the leadership table, man, and sharing with us, man, your words of wisdom. I want to encourage all of those who are watching. Definitely click on the link below. Whatever you can do, if you can write a check, if you can use a Cash App, Venmo, whatever it is out there to be able to help this foundation reach its goals. And their goal is not only to try to help out the hospital in Memphis, but 16 other neighboring hospitals. And their goal is to be able to touch every children's hospital in America. And so we haven't
gotten Ohio yet.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, man, before we depart today, I want to tell you, you are an inspiration. For years, our church connected with Angel Tree, in which we bought presents, man, for children whose parents were incarcerated. And right before the pandemic, I had shared with the church about the idea of connecting with Children's Hospital. And your inspiration, what I saw you doing, said that there was another group of kids who I think could benefit from our level of support. And right when we began to make that shift, the pandemic set in. And so and now I'm pastor emeritus, so I don't have that same type of influence. But I will say your inspiration for giving back to children's and families who are in that predicament is incredible. And so we salute you and what you're doing. And again, I want to thank you, man, for joining with us. And to all of those who've been a part of this discussion, we appreciate you joining the leadership table. Until we see you again on the next episode, we want to encourage you to keep the faith as we keep in touch. God bless.
Boxland Media. Think big,